The red pottery from the Tutankhamun's Embalming cache are some of my favorite pieces of Egyptian pottery, which is saying something because in general, I think Egyptian pottery is some of the most boring of the ancient potteries. I've talked about the embalming cache in previous videos, but it was essentially a small pit with jars full of items from the funeral of Tutankhamun. Because they were discovered almost 20 years before the tomb was, Tutankhamun was still a complete mystery. These pieces are currently at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and I've had the absolute pleasure to see them a lot in my life. In comparison, pottery in ancient Egypt is pretty plain and usually undecorated, but the pieces from the embalming cache are just embellished enough to look absolutely pristine. I love these simple shallow bowls with the just very minimalist, almost reflecting the floral collars, which I've talked about in a previous video. And this pattern is almost the exact same on all of the pieces found in the embalming cache, which is also pretty unique because finding matching sets in Egypt is also not very common. But my absolute favorite piece is this one, which is unironically called the water bottle of the embalming cache. And I think it is just the most pristine piece I've ever seen. And in college, I actually was asked to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and study ceramics for my ceramics class. And this was the piece that I studied. And I even tried to recreate it with this piece. I obviously didn't go with the same color scheme, but I was really trying to imitate the essentially pointed bottom, which is very common with Egyptian pieces because they were meant to kind of sit in the sand or the dirt. They didn't really need a flat bottom. And so I really tried my best to recreate it, and I was pretty proud of it, though it is very, very heavy.